Give me one quick second, everyone. I gotta put on my pants. Alright, now we can go ahead and get started. Sorry for the delay, I had a little bit of a late workout, and plus I was helping out family with some stuff, so I got it started late. So I do apologize, but let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way, shall we? Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another live reading of Solo Leveling. In the last chapter, I may sound a tad bit out of breath, just a little bit, because I just got done with my workout at exactly 9:59, so I had to rush in order to get all my stuff on. My black ensemble on for the story. So last we left off, we had a very enlightening chapter, of the life of the Shadow Soldiers that rest within the eternal world of slumber. Like, they have an entire nation. They're sophisticated. Like, they have different zones for different uses, trade and markets and training areas and ant colonies and locations for the ant soldiers. And then we have the big castles where all the big generals live. And this is all being narrated by Igris. And it was a great chapter, seeing how he was the person that was right there with Ashbourne from the very beginning. And he knew that this moment would come where he would have to test the individual who would be the vessel of his master's power. And then we see how Igris was the moment before Jin showed up. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to sit? I really hope if my lord rests within Jin, I really hope he doesn't think I'm too haughty by sitting on his throne. All these different thoughts. And then we see the fight between Igris the Red fighting against Jin. And then we see all the moments of Jin reunited with Cha Hae-in. And the lives of the Shadow Soldiers was an introspective into characters that I was not prepared to see. But let's see what happens in the next chapter in special episode 9. Oh, and we get some narration. Let me move this properly in its proper place. Oh, snap. I'm just now realizing. My mic kind of got a little bit turned a little bit, so hopefully that didn't ruin the sound for any of you. But, it's been a minute since we had narration about gates, ever since we entered into this new world. Gates. The enormous holes that call forth magic beasts. One must exit a gate within an hour of defeating the dungeon boss. But I failed and became trapped in a dimensional rift. Wait, is this Jin's dad? This is Jin's dad. Yes, this is Jin's dad. But I failed and became trapped in a dimensional rift. The rulers made contact with me and lent me their strength, requesting that I stop the monarchs. And finally, the greatest fragment of brilliant light gave me a new order. Protect the monarch of shadows. And then so now it cuts to when Jin's dad was speaking to Jin back then during the whole moment where Jin reunites with his father. During the fight where I think they were facing off against the Beast Monarch, the Frost Monarch, and Frost Monarch, I think. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. That's why I helped you. I didn't want you to see this side of me. And this is still Jin's dad speaking to him. Also, obviously, this chapter is brought to you by Tapas. You can either look up solo leveling on your own or go to Tapas to view it there. But as I always say, support the official release. And it shows Jin's dad's body starting to crackle and fade away as it did when Jin was like looking at his father after so many years. I didn't want you to see this side of me. I'm sorry. And then Jin just says, I missed you. And his father looks up in utter shock, thinking that maybe his son resents him for not being there all that time. And he flinches, and then tears begin to well up in his father's eyes. I've missed you too, as he starts running his finger through his hair. Not a moment went by without thinking about you. And he's just crying his eyes out. You've become a fine young man. As he stands up and hugs Jin with the arm he still has available before the rest of him starts to fade away. I would have liked to talk to you more. I also like how, as Jin's father, his dad, continues to talk to him, and as he starts to fade away more, his speech bubble starts to get more and more cracked, as if even his speech itself is crumbling away. That's a nice touch, nice attention to detail. And then Jin holds on to his father as he says, I would have liked to talk to you more. I wish I could have spent more time with you. And then his father just says, I'm sorry I wasn't a better father to you. And as his father says that, his speech bubble completely fades. And then we cut to present day in the apartment building. And it cuts to Jin's mom. Yo, are we finally about to see the family dynamic after all this time? 9 chapters, and we're finally about to see Jin's mom, his sister Jenna. It's been so long since we had a moment where we see Jin's family side of things since these special episodes started. I think we only seen like images, but we never had like full-on conversations. Good morning, Jinwoo, says his mother. Father? And this is Jin when he was living out his life normally. Father? Father? Don't you mean dad? And then we see Jin's dad just sitting there reading the paper. What's wrong, Jinwoo? Why are you crying? I think I had a nightmare. And then this is when Jin was younger, growing up with his family, living out a full life, a full normal life with his family. Because Jenna's like a kid, and Jin is like slightly older than her. So this is when he was enjoying his childhood with his family. I think I had a nightmare. And then Jin's dad just smiles at him. And then his father closes his eyes, and then he looks even more pensive as he buries his face into the paper. And as he buries his face into the paper, everyone is still going about their business, but his father just looks incredibly, incredibly distraught as everyone... What is going on with Jin's dad? What is going on with Jin's dad? Hold up. What is going on with Jin's dad? He just buries his face in his paper looking so upset. Not mad upset, but it's all like... like, not even exasperated. It's just like, I guess... And then it shows Jin's father sitting at a table going, what choice did my son make? Oh! So Jin's dad still has dealings with the rulers because the same emissary that was talking with Jin way back when the story originally ended before we got the epilogue, the same dude is sitting in front of Jin's dad. What choice did my son make? The Monarch of Shadows has chosen to remain here. He says that every second he spends in this world is dear to him. Do you plan to keep it from the Monarch, I mean, your son, forever? I just don't want him to remember anyone. It appears that your son has inherited your noble traits. Wow, so Jin's dad is the only one who's been immune to Jin pretty much resetting the world, because the rulers still have need of Jin's dad. He's the only one that came into this new world with his entire mind and with his entire mind intact. Mind you, this man faded before the final fight with Antares in the original story. But maybe him crumbling away like that wasn't him dying, but just the rulers taking him before he actually died. Maybe the rulers actually took him before death took him. I don't know, I'm just making assumptions. But for his dad to remember everything and be all like, okay, so what did my son decide? And he's all like, oh, so you mean to tell me that this man is still conscious of everything that has been going on in the world ever since he disappeared? Questions! But let's continue. I just don't want him to remember anyone. It appears your son has inherited your noble traits. Once I leave, the rulers will no longer intervene. I suppose this really marks the end of my time in this world, then. Wow! So if this emissary dude leaves the world, the new world that exists right now, so this dude is saying, once I leave, the rulers will no longer intervene. So I suppose this really marks the end of my time in this world, then. So he's basically saying, once he leaves this world, once he leaves, the rulers will no longer have any sort of try and push or pull in this new world that Jin is going to be a part of. That's what he's basically saying. And then he just says, it's been fun. I could feel my pulse pounding while I waited to see what would become of the Monarch of Shadows. The ruler's gratitude is directed not only to him, but to you as well, Mr. Sung Gil Huan. Oh, so that's his father's name. Either I completely forgot it when it was first mentioned in the original story, or they just never mentioned it. But his father's name is Il Huan. Il Huan. Il-Hwan. It's been fun. I could feel my pulse pounding while I waited to see what would become of the Monarch of Shadows. The ruler's gratitude is directed not only to him, but to you as well, Mr. Sung Gil Huan. Before I go, is there anything we can do for you? And then Il Huan says, would it be possible for you to erase my memories from the time before? I certainly could, but why would you want to do that? Feigning ignorance in front of Jin Woo is no easy task, especially when he's got such keen eyes. Besides, I just want to be like any other father who cares for and worries about his son. After all, he may be the Monarch of Shadows, but I will always see him as my beloved child. I understand. As the emissary just lifts his fingers and there's a flash of light just in his fingertips. The moment you step outside this coffee shop, the events from that timeline will be completely erased from your mind. And then the dude just leaves with coffee in hand. I suppose you won't remember me saying this, but I wish the very best for you. And then he's gone. And then it cuts to time later as everyone, a whole bunch of different people are in the coffee shop just, making noise, clamoring and everything. And then it cuts to, the dude that's supposed to be a reincarnation of Jino. He's just sitting in this coffee shop going, I'm so nervous I can't eat. This is my first ever freshman welcoming party. But even though this is no place for the second son of a wealthy family like me, why does this cheap barbecue joint seem oddly familiar? And then it cuts to the head captain. Loosen up, Jino. It's not like we're gonna eat you alive. Forgive me, sir. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Drop the sir. Feel free to relax around me, but you should still be careful with your other upperclassmen, just to be safe. Especially this one guy who's super scary. And the dude is like getting, I wonder if he's getting drunk because his cheeks are very flushed. But he just puts his arm on Jino. I mean, He won't, like, beat you up and take your lunch money or anything, but you can practically feel his charisma just standing next to him, just by standing next to him. Well, he can't be any worse than my dad. Hey, do you remember that track star who made headlines a while back? What was her name? Eon Young or something? Oh, you mean Cha Hae-in? That's right, Cha Hae-in. Anyway, you've heard of her, right? She's dating that guy I mentioned. Oh, okay, so the guy they're talking about is Jin. I knew it, but it was like, there's no way they couldn't be talking about anyone else other than Jin. She's dating that guy I mentioned. And then the dude who made his clothes look like that he saw in the store, that is just straight up theft. You're just stealing a look without even paying for it. So like, you don't even need to worry about buying clothes. You can just make your clothes look like whatever you see. This man could be wearing Versace for all we know, and no one would ever know. Well, speak of the devil, there he is. Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. Hey, why isn't anyone else sitting at our table? Maybe I should go over there where all the cute freshmen are. And then, the very person that they were talking about... No, I don't even think this was a track captain. I don't think this was a track captain. I think this is someone else because his hair is shorter than the other guys. I could be wrong, but I don't think this is the track captain. No, I think it is. But, the very person that they were talking about, Jin, just kneels down and sits in front of him. Both Jin-Oh and your boy get real scared because he sits down. Oh, crap. There are so many empty seats. Why did he have to sit in front of me? I'm just gonna go check on the other guys. Here, this is for you. Is he seriously starting me off with soju in a big glass? And Jin just hands him a drink. I can see why people are intimidated by him. And then Jin-Oh just takes the drink and starts gulping it. Drinking's not my strong suit, but... Huh? This is soda, sir? Exactly. I know you can't hold your liquor. You and I are gonna drink this instead. Yo, Jin is the only one who's all like, yeah, I know you can't hold back the drink, so we just gonna drink some soda. Let's just chill for a bit. Yo, let's go, Jin! And Jin-Oh, the sir thing is too formal for me. Just call me Jin-Woo. What? What's wrong? Don't wanna? Of course not, Jin-Woo! Huh? For some reason, it doesn't feel awkward to call him that. Come to think of it, did I even give him my name? And then Jin is just sitting there chilling and just holds up a drink, a glass of soda, just going, cheers. Cheers! And then it cuts to a new day, it cuts to the track, it cuts to the school, as someone is talking to Jin on his phone. Hey, Jin-Woo, why didn't you stop by our department room today? Oh, I just got some things to take care of. By the way, Jin-Oh. Yeah? Something important came up, so if I was wondering if you could pop into my afternoon class when they're taking attendance. What? There's no way that'll work. Even all the professors know who you are. Where in the world are you going anyway? I'm off on a field trip to our university's hospital. What? What kind of field trip has nothing to do with our major? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And then he just hangs up on Jin-Oh. Jin-Woo! And then we cut to someone speaking going, I mean, I'm glad I get to study in Seoul, but is my Busan accent really that strong? Learning the standard dialect is already a pain. Why does nursing school have to use so much English on top of that? Oh, it's... What is her name? 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 I forgot her name. I forgot her name. Someone tell me her name. The girl. I instantly recognize her right now. She's the girl that was there for Jin from the very beginning of the story. The one that was always healing him every time he came back from a dungeon damaged. It's her. She's walking. Mind you, Jin and her is never going to be a thing because that belongs to Cha Hae-in. But the girl, I forget her name, always healing Jin-Woo, was there with Mr. Park. And I think his name is Wong. I forget his name. Mr. Park and the other dude. But she's walking thinking, I mean, I'm glad I get to study in Seoul, but is my Busan accent really that strong? Learning the standard dialect is already a pain. Why does nursing school have to use so much English on top of that? And then she walks by Jin.
Huh? Excuse me? I'm sorry, but, have we met before?
And then Jin just looks back and he just kind of, and you see the lower half of his face as he goes, I don't think so. And then he continues to, and then he just starts to walk away from her. And then it's your girl. Wow, they shaped her up for this one panel. Like, she's really, what is her name? 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 I need to look up her name real quick before I continue. It's not, what is her name? Jui! Jui! That's her name, Jui. Jui. So Jin just walked past Jui in this new world. And she's still keeping up with her whole healing aspect because she was a healer in the previous world. And now she's working on going to nursing school in this one. So it's nice that everyone keeps their traits, even in this new world. Even if they're no longer hunters, it's nice to see Jui again. We haven't seen Jui in so long. I remember when she was healing Jin. I remember when she was stuck inside of the room with the god statue. And then she left with everyone else, even though she was incredibly reluctant to do so. Then we saw her wanting to get out of the whole hunter business because it really messed with people's minds when tons of people got massacred during the whole god statue incident. But to see her again after all this time, it's like, wow, it's been so long. You look good, Jui. And then Jui is just looking at Jin, wondering if she recognizes him. And then she realizes,
huh? Why did I just talk to a random stranger? What if he thought I was coming on to him? Or maybe I looked like I wanted to recruit him to a cult?
And then she immediately assumes the worst and just runs off while Jin is just looking back at her, smiling. Then we cut to the university hospital. And we see all these doctors walking through the hallways. And then we see these two government agent-looking dudes standing in front of a door as a doctor walks up, and they both nod like, yes, you can go in. And the doctor goes in there. Yo! Yo! He's here! He's here! Woo! He's here! Oh, let's go! He's here! The person I've been looking to see since these special episodes started. The person I've been looking forward to is here! The doctor goes over. The doctor goes over to this individual as the person in the bed goes, would you mind helping me up? Thank you. And the doctor looks over and he sees a strange-looking vial. The elixir. The elixir of life. You know, the same elixir that Jin went through so much trouble to get through in order to bring his mother out of the eternal sleep? That's sitting on the nightstand behind this individual. I won't say his name until he shows up. Let me make sure that my stream is still moving smoothly. It is. As this individual goes, thank you. Mr. Go, may I ask what that is? A young man came by just now and gave it to me. Strange, isn't it? Even though the ward is being strictly guarded, he still managed to hand me this bottle and slip away without anyone noticing. Yet, incredible as that was, what he said next was even more unbelievable. He said that he and I battled monsters together in a timeline that no longer exists, and he brought this gift as a token of gratitude for what we achieved together in the past. With that, he just vanished into thin air, almost as if he were a ghost, like someone who was never really here in the first place. According to that young man, I'll be completely healed if I drink that thing. You don't actually believe what he said, do you, Chairman? I'm tired, Doctor.
It's Go-Gun-He! Woo! One of my favorite characters! He's here!
But he's apparently still a little bit... He's sick from something. He's got dark circles under his eyes. His whole body is trembling. He doesn't look as full as he did when he was, in the previous world. He's probably been bedridden for so long that his muscles have atrophied. And he just says, I'm tired, Doctor. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Let me ask you this. Without this strange bottle, how much longer do I have? And the doctor doesn't say anything. Should anything happen to me after I drink this, I want you to use the following as my epitaph. Here lies Go-Gun-He, who remains steadfast in his fight against illness till the very end. And then he takes the bottle and he pops it off. And then he starts to chug the elixir. And then he just puts the bottle on the nightstand. I'm going to take a nap now. I hope you have a restful sleep, Mr. Go. If anything happens, please call me immediately. And then as the door slides closed as the doctor leaves, Go-Gun-He is just lying in his bed. And multiple panels go by as it slowly starts to zoom in on him in his bed. And then his eyes open and he looks over and then he closes them again. And then it shows the sky, the sun shining. And then it cuts back to, I guess, Go-Gun-He's room as his heart is steadily thumping. And as his heart is thumping, the sun starts to go up his body. The sunlight starts to go up his body as his body starts to move more and more. And what his skin looked dark before, like it was lifeless. Like the color of his skin was dark. Well, faded. Faded is a better word. Faded is a better word, as if he didn't have enough blood rushing in his body. And then he starts to move, and then the color starts to return to his fingers. And then his heart starts thumping harder and harder and harder. And then we see the face of Go-Gun-He. That is, it's wrinkles, the sick wrinkles. The appearance of him being sick is completely gone. The bags under his eyes, completely gone. Skin completely flushed with blood, as if life has fully returned to him. As he sits there in his hospital bed, sun shining on his face, as he looks up and he realizes, I'm alive. Well, it seems winter's still a ways off. And then he just sits in his bed. He just sits in his bed. He just sits in his bed going, it seems winter's still a ways off. As he smiles and lays back, as he says, the sun is as warm as ever. And that is the end of the chapter. This was wholesome. This was incredibly wholesome. That's the same barbecue restaurant that Jinwoo and Jinho used to eat whenever they had time? Yeah, it's just changed from how it looked in the previous world. This was another wholesome chapter. In the last chapter, we got the lives of the Shadow Soldiers and the entire society inside of the world of slumber. And in this one, we see Jinho, reuniting with Jin once again. Well, first and foremost, we find out that Jin's dad has been knowledgeable of everything that has transpired, both in the previous timeline and in the current one, this whole time. And this is the last time we're going to see the rulers. This is the last time we see the rulers in this world. Let that sink in. Because Jin's dad has been watching over Jin ever since Jin defeated all the monarchs and restarted the world into a brand new timeline. He's been watching over Jin this whole time, but it's been increasingly difficult to hide him knowing everything that's happened because Jin is very smart. So as Jin was reliving his entire life and enjoying everything, his father has been knowledgeable about everything. Even talking to the emissary of the rulers, saying like, okay, so what's been going on with my son? What choice did he make? And it's all like, oh, so you knew from the very beginning. His dad knew from the very beginning. Aside from Jin, his father, Il Huan, who we now know the name of. Well, I know the name of because I don't think they ever said it in the previous story. But Il Huan knew everything that's been going on this whole time. And the emissary was all like, well, he made the decision to live out his life and stay in this world because he has something he wants. There's something dear that is keeping him here in this world. Once I leave, the rulers will no longer intervene in what's going on here in this world. Basically, the rulers will no longer have a presence. The rulers will no longer have a presence in this world. So the only person who's going to have absolute power over this whole world is Jin. The only powerful individual that could basically reshape the world if you want it to will be Jin. And to top it all off, before the dude even leaves, he's all like, I just want you to know that we're not only grateful to your son, but we're also grateful to you for everything you've done leading up to this point. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. His father has been there watching over his son the entire time. That's amazing. That's a father right there. Even if his body faded away, he's still knowledgeable about everything that's going on. That's amazing. And then for him to be all like, before you go, and the dude says, like, before I leave, before I am gone forever, is there anything that we can do for you? Imagine a supremely powerful being that could basically do whatever they want to in the world to a normal human like you and me. If they're saying, like, we're entirely grateful to you, is there anything at all we can do for you? And the thing that you ask for is, make me forget everything once this new timeline started because I want to enjoy time with my son. And it's all like, really? How very noble of you. And he just like, wow, of all the things you could possibly ask for, that has got to be the most noble and most wholesome. Like you could wish for immortality for you and your family. You could wish that for your family. Make it so that you and your family can never want for anything. But the one true mark of this father is him saying, erase my memory so that way I can talk to my son without hiding anything from him. I can talk to him like a father and I can be there for him. All these different aspects. That's the thing he wishes for. And it's all like, I wish you the very best, even though once you leave this coffee shop, you will forget everything that's been said here today and since this timeline started concerning us. So it's like, this is such a wholesome chapter. It really was. Jin reuniting with Jin-Oh, Jin coming across Ju-yi, Jin visiting Go-Gun-Hee in the hospital, who apparently had an incurable disease where he didn't have very long to live. Jin just, and mind you, he has top security over his own room, and Jin just slipped in, told him everything that happened between Go-Gun-Hee and himself in the previous timeline, and says like, if you drink this, you'll be healed. And it's like, he just dips, and then Go-Gun-Hee is all like, well, if any bad comes of this, then at least you can put this on my grave. And he drinks it, and then he just wakes up, body healed, stronger than ever, as if he never had the illness, never had the illness at all. And it's like Jin is really giving a second chance to a whole bunch of people where it really matters. First, we had Wu. Then we had Kim Chul, who is now alive, and since he's alive, iron now resides within him, and the same probably applies to greed as well. Then we have him reunited with Cha Hae-in, and then we have him reuniting with Jin-Oh and being good friends with him. Then we have Jin coming across Ju-yi, so a lot of these people who had a positive a positive impact on Jin's life, except for Kim Chul, because I wouldn't say it was a positive impact since Kim Chul in the previous timeline tried to kill him, but knowing that Iron has a new home to reside in and that thus can push Kim Chul in a far better line of thinking than he did previously, that's still fine. But a lot of these people we've been coming across have been individuals who have impacted Jin in a major way. Less so with Kim Chul, but everyone he's come across has impacted Jin in a major way, especially Ju-yi. Like, Ju-yi's been the person that's been there for Jin since the beginning. So for her to come back into this story, for her to be talking about going to nursing school, and her to get this feeling like, I've seen this person before. It's like such a good feeling. Now I'm wondering who else will reunite with Jin. It still says to be continued, so we still have more Solo Leveling special episodes to go through. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been yet another fantastic chapter of Solo Leveling, and I can't wait to read the next one. Later today, I'm going to be having another voiceover stream, so CJ, if you've been waiting on me to do the voices of Romulus and Dakin, then I will be doing that. He's probably not here, but this was a great chapter, and I'm glad that all of you were here to experience this moment where we got to see Go-Gun He again. Y'all know I love this dude. He's the Garp of Solo Leveling. Y'all know I love this dude. I love this character. But this was also a good chapter overall. The pacing was good. I don't feel like anything was dragging on. I don't feel like anything was just tacked on just for the sake of shock value. Like, oh, we haven't seen this person in a while. It's just like, this was a great chapter. These chapters have been great. All of these special episodes have been great. All of them. All of them. And I can't wait to read the rest of them. I don't know how much more we have to go, but I can't wait to read the rest. Wholesome chapter after wholesome chapter after wholesome chapter. This is what the story needs, aside from all the constant fighting that we were seeing in the previous timeline. So overall, I'm grateful to be reading these. But I'm done for my reactions today, ladies and gentlemen. All I can say at the end of the day to everyone here is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, share this stream with everyone you know, because the more the merrier. And we are so close to 4,000 subscribers! So the more the merrier. And maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!